For the main event, it's the Shoe Shine. All right. It's your boy Dave from the 408 coming to you all the way from my podcast studio in San Jose, Califas. What's going on, everybody? You know what time it is. It's time for the Shoe Shine Monday nights, where friends from around the country, from around the world, get together to talk about the sweet science, the sport of boxing that we love so much. Here to join me is my co-host all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. What's going on, Drew?
What's up, Dave?
Yeah, man. Hey, we're trying out something new, so there may be some technical difficulties. People might not even know we're on, but we're on. The Shoe Shine is live. We're here to talk about boxing all night. It's Monday. We've got some very exciting news for our podcast. One thing that you notice right now is that Drew's got his Cash App, and we're trying to improve the quality of the show. So if you feel generous and inclined, you can hit him up on Cash App and send him some love. We're trying to improve the quality of the show. New microphones, new headphones, stuff like that is always necessary. But the other thing we're doing, Drew, is technically we are supposed to be on Twitch right now. And we're also supposed to be on Twitter, but I don't know because I'm monitoring everything. I know we're live here right now on YouTube. The show is live and it's interactive. So you guys can drop a comment in the chat or you can even call us. The phone line is open right now. So you can drop us a phone call. We're here to talk about Tyson Fury, Wilder 3, the trilogy. Drew, are you excited? But first, let me ask you, bro. Are you watching Teofimo versus Kambosos right now?
I thought it wasn't happening.
I don't know. I wasn't going to pay for it. No, it's definitely not happening. What is happening is the Raiders game. It's Monday Night Football.
And we all know the score of that game. I hope we all know if anybody's football fans.
No, but please tell me. I'd love to know what the score is. Drop us a comment. Let us know. Saludos to our homeboy Chicano Prophet who has just joined us. Yes, we're trying out some new stuff. So thank you, Chicano Prophet, for letting us know. We're supposed to be live on 3 different formats today. So, yeah, let me know if there's any audio issues. You can give us a call, but we're here to talk about the biggest rematch trilogy in heavyweight in recent history. Drew, is anything going to change? I want to get to that, but I do want to address this Teofimo Lopez thing because we literally, we're getting into arguments with our colleagues, other podcast shows about this Teofimo Lopez situation, man. But some big news was exposed on New York Fights, a website that I like to read a lot, giving some insight into that. But it seems like Triller's called it quits with that fight, man. I wanted to know your instant reaction that Triller's finally pulled out and said, we've lost enough money. The hell with this event.
Good riddance. They're terrible. They just showed how terrible they are as a company. They mismanaged this whole situation. They are overbid for a fight with Teofimo and he's fighting somebody that the U.S. never heard of. So if anybody is holding right now is Triller, because one, whoever assessed this situation of this post bid did a terrible job. He probably lost his job by now because it was a stupid business decision. 2, these guys just couldn't do anything with this fight. They thought Teofimo was going to sell out the Hard Rock Stadium. He didn't even sell half the his name on the card. Didn't even sell half the tickets. So supposedly he got COVID. They delayed it, and then after that they delayed it again. Wanted to move the fight to possibly Senior Australia. Then with the COVID restriction over there now, they decided to move the fight back to the United States. They picked October 2nd. And they wanted to switch it out of nowhere to the Barclays Center on October 16th, which Kambosos' people was not in favor of. And he actually went to the IBF, had his lawyers hit up the IBF, and wanted to do a ruling that the fight cannot change dates again, that he wants to fight on the 2nd, and Triller didn't like it. They want Kambosos' mandatory status removed from him, and Teofimo tried to call him out to agree to the date. Unfortunately, Triller defaulted. It's most likely going to the next one, which is Matchroom, and it's not going to take place till probably next year.
Yeah, you did mention up a great point. Let me say hello to everyone who's joining us so far. Chicano Prophet, Sontello Media. Bro, I've been reading your articles. I'm not sure if you're the one writing those fantastic articles that I've been seeing retweeted on Twitter, but please, if you got a second to call me, because some of those articles are fantastic reads. Bella Bling, shout out to Bella Bling who's joining us. Always nice to have women in the room. Chicano Prophet says Kambosos is a scrub anyway. Yeah, but he is ranked #1. And the worst part about this whole debacle is that they tried to strip, they're asking the IBF to strip him of his mandatory so they can fight Isaac Cruz, who is from Mexico. And if not him, Gustavo Lemos, who's 27-0 from Argentina, someone even more obscure than Kambosos. But the irony is that weeks ago, Kambosos' manager was the COO of Trilla, and he left Trilla. And I mean, he was supposedly, there was a conflict, so he had recused himself from the handling of that, because supposedly that does interfere with the Muhammad Ali Act, acting as manager and promoter. But he left Trilla, and he must have known something horrible was about to happen. And apparently Trilla wants to keep doing these fights. They want to stay in the boxing business. They just don't want to deal with this one. But I mean, really, guys, should they have bid so much for this specific fight? We know that Teofimo was coming off the biggest win. Like it or not, Drew, he's coming off the biggest win of his career against Lomachenko, a pound-for-pound fighter. And they got excited, man. Shout out to Rum PMC. They got way too excited and overbid. Everyone jumped on to say that this was Teofimo's natural market value, but it probably wasn't, because it's not actually going to pan out that way, right? And even Kambosos doesn't want to deal with him. It was going to be his record high $2 million payday. He says the hell with it. I could care less about this himself. He just had a baby, and Teofimo is going to have a baby later this year. So, Drew, it's very likely we may not see Teofimo Lopez in action at all this year. It'll be a miracle if if the fight gets picked up by Matchroom and gets put on by Eddie Hearn. It'll be a miracle if it happens this year, because these guys have been training, stopping training, starting new camps. They gotta take money out of their pocket to pay for the camps, to pay for the trainers, to pay the sparring partners, to house them. It's a debacle, man. Chicano Prophet says this was never a pay-per-view fight in the first place, which is what old Bob Arum said. So Sontillo Media answered me, yeah, those are my articles. My friend Pugilist Place, which is a fantastic website, publishes them for me. Bro, I've been checking them out. Great stuff, man. I didn't know you wrote, and you write very well. And I encourage everyone to go over to the Pugilist Place online and check out Sontillo Media. You definitely have an inside scoop on what's going on in Southern California gym scene, Robert Garcia's gyms, and all those hot prospects that are coming out of that area. So go check out Sontillo Media. Drew, I don't think the fight's going to happen at all. If it does, it'll be a miracle if it happens this year. And that leaves us to wonder, why are all the lightweights? This is arguably the most competitive, best division in all of boxing. Why are all these top athletes under 30 years old why aren't they like calling each other out, demanding to fight each other? You don't see Ryan Garcia jumping in to say, I want to fight. I mean, we might be getting an in-house fight with Jojo Diaz. We might. It's not finalized. None of them are calling out to fight Gervonta Davis. I don't see Teofimo Lopez saying, give me the Gervonta Davis fight. That's what I want. That's the money fight. Anybody against them. Devin Haney, like him or not, he claims to be avoided. We're not going to get any great lightweight action this year. Am I right or am I wrong?
Oh, you're right. You might not get it for a long time, because all these young boys do is talk shit. That's all they're good at doing. They don't want to fight each other. They want to talk shit, get easy opponents. And that's how it is at the end of the day. When, tell you the truth, it's the older fighters that want to fight the best fighters. And they're trying to get these young boys to bite and everything. Yeah,
you mentioned older fighters. Do you remember Ishe Smith of the Contender Series? Because he had some choice words to say on Twitter about these lightweight fighters. He was talking about, like, he fought Randall Bailey, who was a knockout artist. He fought him for $11,000. He had to pay taxes on the $11,000. He had to pay his camp. He said he walked away with a couple of $1,000. and that he's sick and tired of seeing all these fighters that should be at the top of their game spending more time on social media, putting on a show, arguing on social media than actually trying to fight.
You got Ryan talking shit. You got Teofimo talking shit. Teofimo hasn't fought in over a year, and delayed. They're like, oh, supposedly he had COVID, and then like thinking that he's a superstar. He's not a superstar yet. The only way you're gonna be a superstar if you fight Lomachenko again, or fight Tank, and you're not calling out Tank, and you want no parts of Lomachenko again. There you have it. At the end of the day, I don't care if people say I'm bashing Teofimo. I'm telling the fucking truth about him. And I'm telling the truth about all these young boys. These young boys need to start fighting each other. They need to start fighting each other with guys in their prime. They need to earn their fucking keep. At the end of the day, you fight in boxing to be the best in boxing, to beat the best, for superiority of the sport. And all these guys are doing is can't care how many social media followers they have.
Yo, what's going on with social media? Speaking of social media today, man, I'm not even on Facebook, but I know a lot of people are, and Facebook went down today. And so Facebook owns Instagram, IG went down today. Is Twitter acting up, or is it just me? Is it just my phone? Is Twitter? I heard there was problems everywhere with just about like a global hack or something. I mean, luckily we're on YouTube now. We're doing our show now, and I appreciate everybody that's here. And if you want to share the show on your social media timeline and it's working, I would appreciate that. I'm going to do that right now. Drew, we do have a big announcement to make, and I wanted to wait until maybe HCP and some of HCP's family comes on over here. Run PMC says Bailey had pop back in the day. Yeah, people avoided Randall Bailey. He definitely had pop. And Ishe Smith, who was on the Contender, he was down to fight with anybody during those days.
Well, Randall Bailey knocked out huge prospect Mike Jones from Philly.
That's right. Mike Jones was a Philly fighter. I saw Mike Jones fight, Drew, by the way. I saw Mike Jones fight. It was Nonito Donaire versus a Mexican fighter at the Mandalay Bay. And speaking of Mandalay Bay, if you want to know, I know I had mentioned that I was going to be going to the Canelo Alvarez fight versus Caleb Plant. I had booked my vacation. I had not bought tickets to the fight. They were really, really high. I was kind of waiting to see if they'd come down from ticket brokers. And Drew, I did some soul searching, and me and my wife were talking back and forth. And she said, why are we going to pay so much money to see another mismatch? I saw him fight Chavez Jr., which was a joke of a fight. He carried Chavez Jr. And also, I saw him fight Angulo El Perro, another horrendous mismatch. And you know what? You can add up a lot of money going to events like that. So, Drew, here's the big news. Part of the big news, I'm going to be going to this Crawford fight. I'm going to go to the Crawford fight. That is confirmed. I've got fantastic seats for that. I know I've already talked to In the Ring with Christine, who's also going to be attending with her friend that covers the sport. So I'm very excited. So if you're going to be in Las Vegas the weekend of November 20th, the following Sunday is a Raiders game. I'm even thinking about going to the Raiders game. I'm dying to check out the stadium. Even though I'm a Niners fan, don't kill me. I might not represent and wear my No, I should wear my Niners gear, huh? It's kind of safe.
You shouldn't.
I shouldn't. I should be asking it.
Don't do it.
Oh man. So I might do that. But yeah, if you guys are definitely in Las Vegas for the Crawford fight, I will be trying to do a live stream. You could join me. That would be fantastic to get together with supporters of the YouTube community. I'll probably run into In the Ring with Christine, who does Women Crushing It Wednesday. And hopefully we'll do something together and invite anybody who's down there to join us at the Mandalay Bay. I'm really excited about that fight. Shout out to HLD, who I've never seen in our room, but I see you all the time in HCP. Thank you for joining us, brother. And me and Drew were just talking about the lightweight division and the Teofimo Lopez fight that did not happen tonight. The Raiders are playing as we speak, so shout out to the Raider Nation. By the way, Drew, a couple of weeks ago, my comedian friend from the Howard Stern Show, Speech Impediment Man, called, and he was asking about his money. And he told me that he's going to be coming up here to see the 49ers versus the Vikings. He's a Vikings fan. But I told him, I won't be here, brother. I'm going to be out of town, man. I'm going to be visiting family and staying in Las Vegas that week. So Speech was hoping to get the money that you owe him from me, but he ain't getting it because I won't be around to collect. So shout out to Speech. You ain't getting the money yet.
Stop messing with those midgets.
Yeah, if you guys want to help Drew pay his bet, man, just send him some Cash App at Cash App Money Drew Evo 85. All right, we do have some other very major news for the shoe shine that I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait until about after we make our fight predictions.
Do it at the end of the show.
Dude, I'm gonna do it at the end of the show. It's about the Tyson Fury fight. It's big news. It's this Saturday, and I'm extremely excited. If you're looking for something to do Saturday before the fight, I got something for you, but you're going to have to hang on till the end of the show. It's going to be a short show. All right, Drew, let's get to our fight predictions because we were pretty spot on with this recent heavyweight showdown. And Anthony Joshua is no longer a heavyweight champion. Now we got Usyk. All right, 2 fights. We've had 2 fights between these big heavyweights, Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury versus Deontay Wilder, the American undefeated. He was undefeated. In the very first fight, Drew, I need to know how many rounds, and please drop the comment or give us a call, but how many rounds did you give Deontay Wilder, honestly, in the first fight?
I'll tell you the score I had it. I had it 116 to 110 Fury. I only had Wilder winning 2 rounds, the 2 knockdown rounds. That's all I had him winning. Other than that, he was just loading up the whole fight and getting outboxed by Fury. So anybody gives him more than 2 rounds, I don't know where the hell you're getting those rounds from. Are you giving the sympathy rounds?
Steve Farhood gave him round 3, and Paulie Malignaggi did as well. Paulie, who just fought this weekend, I know Joe Habib had brought it up. He did a celebrity boxing match against a TikTok radio DJ personality. And unfortunately, I found out, and I wanted to talk to Paulie personally, I found out that he went the distance. With a radio personality. Oh,
well, you know.
How do you go the distance? I mean,
he has no power, Dave.
Oh man, I mean, it was bad enough with the no disrespect to Paulie, but the fact that he wanted to do that bare knuckle fight. Oh man. So Rum PMC says I gave him 4 rounds. Drew, I did give him 3. I did give him that 3rd round, and I'm curious. Rum PMC, definitely, I respect your opinion. Tell me what other round you gave him. Chicano Prophet says, I had it closer than others. I saw the early rounds a bit differently. So I'm also curious about that, Chicano. And I encourage you to give me a phone call at 702-710-3627. Because, Drew, you gave it 2. I have 3. We got someone here saying 4. But some people saw the swing rounds differently. Deontay Wilder arguably had the best performance against Fury in those early rounds where Tyson Fury was forced to make adjustments rather quickly. What was working for Deontay early in the first fight? Because nothing worked for him in the second fight.
Well, here's the thing. Like, not a lot worked for him in the first fight, in my opinion. Like, he was loading up most of the time. And then when the 2 rounds with the knockdowns, he was able to get the right hand off. He was able to fake a little bit. But other than that, I didn't really see him doing much in the first fight. Like, I saw it at a Fury pace. And like every time, and Fury is outboxing him. I just don't see him really in these 2 fights being as competitive as they were, except for the 2 knockdown rounds. That's what made it competitive because he almost knocked him out in the 12th. So other than that, he won 10 rounds in the first fight.
HLD says, I gave him no more than 3, maybe 4 rounds top. So I did give him 3 as well. Shout out to Andre Rodriguez who just joined us. Good evening, Shoe Shine Drew, and folks in the chat. Thank you for coming by, man. I appreciate it. We do have a big announcement for this Saturday's fight that we're going to be sharing with you guys just after the prediction. We'll keep the show short and sweet. Drew, some people give him up to 4 rounds, but it's what happened in the second fight where everything went downhill. That led a lot of people to say there's no need for a trilogy, but the trilogy was basically mandated by court. Remember, it went to court. It went to a judge who said you have to honor him. And here we find ourselves because Tyson Fury was ready to move on from Deontay Wilder and move in a different direction with a different opponent, maybe possibly pursue the Anthony Joshua route in the UK, a very big fight still to be made. But the U.S. courts decided, no, you have to honor that 3rd fight. Of course, we know the whole glove gate that rocked the YouTube community for months. the number of excuses, the blaming of Mark Breland, a longtime reputable manager, accusing him of, all the things he accused him of, spiking the water. Go ahead, throwing in the towel. Yeah, what else?
You also forgot putting a gypsy curse on him.
The gypsy curse.
They said that too, and they probably said, I won't be surprised if they say aliens came down and abducted Deontay Wilder, put a fake in there.
So it leads us to fight number 3, man. And Boxing Scene wrote a fantastic article. And credit to Corey Erdman. If you're not following him on Twitter, you should follow Corey Erdman. But he says, can Malik Scott lead Deontay Wilder to a heavyweight title? Drew, Malik Scott dabbles in OnlyFans adult content. Is a man in his 40s who is producing online adult pornography. A longtime sparring partner, someone that's supposed to be extremely close to Deontay Wilder as a personal friend, an actual former opponent that some say took a dive in their one-round fight.
Here's the thing. Malik Scott couldn't lead Malik Scott to a world title.
And he had a decent amateur career.
Yeah, but he had a mediocre heavyweight pro career.
His other loss, aside from that first round knockout, was to King Kong Ortiz from Cuba, someone that Deontay Wilder did defeat barely. He had to rally back. But dumping Mark Breland, a lot of people in the boxing community were insulted by that, the loyalties, and then going with, this is the thing. Deontay Wilder has been accused for many years of doing his own thing in camps. Not listening to nobody, not giving a fuck about what your opinion is about what he needs to do. He's going to do it Deontay Wilder's way. So going with your best friend, going with someone that you consider a very close ally to become your coach, now your trainer, your head trainer. Yes, he trusts him, right? He trusts him. Does this work out historically in the sport of boxing? I'm going to tell people about a fighter that I enjoyed very much, and maybe a lot of you guys did too, and that's Arturo Gatti. All right, in his final fight, Arturo Gatti decided to pair up with the Irish Mickey Ward to take on Alfonso Gomez from the Contender. And Alfonso Gomez retired him and put a beating on him. Some say that Arturo Gatti basically didn't even train, and that was just okay with Ward, his best friend, close friend, and now his trainer. Are we looking at a repeat of history where Deontay Wilder gets his best friend to become his trainer and just be a big yes man? Is this the situation we got brewing here? Or am I to believe Deontay Wilder, who's bench pressing nearly 300 pounds and is looking pretty damn fit, is really in the best shape and best preparation of his life?
The thing is, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like, to be honest, I think Breland would have been a better teacher for him to show him it, but he never listened to Mark Breland. And Jay Deese is a yes man. We all found that out. He's a yes man. So now, and then he comes up in an interview. Deontay said, "Malik didn't teach me anything new."
So he admits that he's not going to teach him anything new.
And then in the press conference, you could tell that, Malik said, Deontay's going to do Deontay. And then he tries to come up and straighten it out, saying, Deontay's going to do what I tell him. Dude, what the fuck are you talking about at the end of the day? Is he going to fucking listen to you, or is he not going to fucking listen to you? Is he gonna fucking listen to you? Is he going to get to the middle of the ring and truck his ass off and then get knocked the fuck out again?
All right. Well, meanwhile, Deontay Wilder's working out at home. He turned his home in Alabama into a compound, a really well thought out compound, actually. But he's training at home nonetheless. And Tyson Fury is dealt with, according to Tyson, he's had COVID twice. Is that going to play a factor?
It could. It played a factor on Povetkin, in my opinion. But Povetkin was in his 40s against it. But at the end of the day, we won't see nothing to the fight. And It's enough BS as it is already. Let's get this fight over with and let's move on. At the end of the day, all this circus crap, that's all it is. It's a bunch of circus crap with this
Yeah.
fight.
Well,
We don't even want to see it.
our boy Andre Rodriguez says Wilder might have a couple of changes and they are hiding it. Who knows? Saturday, we will know. Saturday, we will know. Drew, that's the thing. That is definitely the big question is has he learned any new tricks to counter what Tyson Fury brought in the second fight? All the adjustments Tyson Fury made with the jab landing at will, snapping his head back, with the feints, just confusing the hell out of Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder fighting off the back foot horribly. And then, of course, never recuperating from the right-hand shots to the back of the ear, to the eardrum. Never recuperated on those legs. Has he been working out the legs?
Well, here's the problem. When you try to prepare for Tyson Fury, he's been using Robert Helenius, the Nordic Nightmare, as his sparring partner. Robert Helenius is not as good, is not really close to the boxer Tyson Fury is, and the movement, and the foot movement, and everything. So we can say, oh, he's hiding something, but he still hasn't prepared really for a guy like Fury. And no, Fury's going to adjust and everything. He said, and Fury's going to come at him, and he's going to be more adjusted when coming at him too. He's already took him the right hand, the best thing he got. Like, at the end of the day, are we going to see anything new at Wilder? We might, but he's probably going to go back to his old ways eventually when he sees it's not working.
It's true that a lot of people, you always revert back to old habits. And you mentioned a couple of things, a name, Robert Helenius, who is fighting Adam Kaunaki on that undercard. This undercard is stacked with heavyweights. Not only is he using Robert Helenius, but he's also using Jared Anderson, who's a highly touted American prospect. He's getting work with these guys. At one point, I read that one of these guys, I think Jared Anderson, dropped him. I had read some gossip about that. Don't know if it's true.
What,
it is sparring.
Because I know Jared Anderson's sparring with Fury. Because he's
he is. Fighter. Jared Anderson and Robert Helenius are in his training camps, and they prepared him very well for everything. These guys they're all learning with each other, and so this undercard promises. I want to get through this undercard just really quickly in a few moments, and give some predictions on those, as well as the fact that we have the Puerto Rican sensation, who was just added at the last minute, Berlanga, to add some flair to this undercard. But it is worth the price of the pay-per-view. Absolutely true. It is. So again, is he going to have any new tricks up his sleeve, Deontay Wilder, or will he revert to his old ways? Will the added strength and conditioning and the muscle, will that help him land that right-hand shot that he did land with success in the first fight? I mean, this in the heavyweight division, we always know that anything can happen. But we can't do that. I mean, like if I'm telling my friend who doesn't watch boxing and is a wager, is a guy who likes to gamble and is going to place a bet at the sportsbook, it's my responsibility to give him the most likely scenario. So, Drew, I'm ready to give you my pick, man. So I hope you got your pick. But I think Tyson Fury is going to win this fight in a very hot 12-round decision, but outworking him at least 8 rounds to 4. But going the distance because I think Deontay Wilder's well-conditioned. I think he's going to make it this time and not get rocked upside the head like he did in that second fight on the eardrum. I'm going with Tyson Fury for a decision. I know some of you think Tyson Fury could actually knock him out. It could happen again. Could be a stoppage. And it could even be that Deontay Wilder pulls a dramatic upset and the story of redemption is written. But I wouldn't advise my friends to bet on Deontay Wilder. Betting on that single right-hand landing, it's possible, but it's not going to be likely like it was in the first fight. So there's my thing. Drew, I'm ready. What you got for us?
So they say it's all going to be redemption or repeat. I got repeat. And I'm saying Tyson Fury is going to knock out Deontay Wilder in the 5th round. And Deontay Wilder is going to retire after this fight.
Retire. Drew, I've given thought to that situation. that if he's knocked out, is he ready to call it quits? We know a lot of heavyweights have fought into their late 30s, even into their 40s. Some of them have even walked away from the sport and come back in their 40s, like George Foreman did. But he puts himself in the situation of the third recent champion to have been champion and now tasted defeat. And I'm talking about Andy Ruiz, who held the belt for a moment, for one fight. Andy Ruiz stunned the boxing world with a major upset over Anthony Joshua, who people thought Anthony Joshua was invincible. All right, Andy Ruiz is fighting back to put himself in position for a title shot once again, and is a tough opponent for anybody. And Anthony Joshua finds himself in those same shoes now. AJ, a star, the UK star. Deontay Wilder would be in that company. Do you fancy him? You really fancy him not trying to make a comeback, just calling it quits there? Or maybe clawing his way back against an Andrew Ruiz or an AJ?
But here's the thing. Deontay Wilder's built his career off fighting lower B level and lower fighters. And when we found out how good he really was when he moved to fight Tyson Fury and everything. Saw the weaknesses. We saw part of it against Luis Ortiz, but we saw a lot, mainly all of them against Tyson Fury, both fights. Imagine if he would have fought Alexander Povetkin 5 years ago in Moscow when he first won the WBC title. I thought Povetkin would have knocked him out then, and we wouldn't see enough, and we wouldn't be hearing Deontay Wilder's name today if Povetkin didn't test positive for PEDs in Russia the night of the fight. So, I just don't see Wilder coming back from getting knocked out again by Fury. A guy that he made all these excuses against, say how he beat him and everything, and then getting knocked out by him again cleaned.
All right. But, AJ doesn't have any plans on retiring, although AJ is much, much younger.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He didn't make no excuses about why he lost. Deontay was making all these excuses, crying why he got knocked out and everything, because a fan base, because a community gave him those reasons. They wanted to make up. He even made up stupid reasons and everything. And then try to prevent somebody from owning a living, being a trainer and everything, because you accuse him of spiking your water and everything. Mm-hmm. Which if you were tested right after the fight like you should have been, it would have came up negative. So that just proves that theory, Deontay. Number one. Number two, they had video of Tyson Fury's getting wrapped, getting gloves expected and everything. So that's the other theory. So what other theories do you have now to come up with?
Now you bring up a good point about AJ taking his losses, like the old adage says, like a man, taking it like a man, making no excuses. And I appreciate that about Anthony Joshua, especially after the recent fight he had in losing his title. And I do want the audience to know I was a big fan of Deontay Wilder. I was actually one of those people screaming bomb squad. I always rooted for him. But things dramatically changed after that second fight. And the whole string of excuses rocked the social media world and rocked the boxing community, because that didn't jive with me. I wasn't feeling that. I wanted to see something else. But I feel like it's very important for America to rally behind a heavyweight champion. It's very important that the heavyweight championship reside in America, at least one of the 4 titles. We got a long, long tradition of the great heavyweight champions, from Muhammad Ali, so forth, George Foreman, Evander Holyfield, all the people, Mike Tyson. We have a long, rich tradition in the sport of boxing in the heavyweight division. And at the moment, it's not looking too good. It's not looking too good right now. So as much as I'd like to root for Deontay Wilder, I still don't pick him in this fight, winning this fight. Drew, we mentioned that the undercard is going to be fire. It's expensive, but it's going to be well worth it. And I think everyone is going to find a way to watch this fight one way or another, whether it's at a local bar or getting together with family. Hopefully everybody's vaccinated. If you're getting together in family get-together, is just my thing. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder at the top, but Efe, what am I saying his name wrong? Efe Ajagba. who was once with PBC, will be fighting Frank Sanchez, the Cuban fighter. Drew, I don't think you're too fond of him, but who do you got in that matchup? You have a great African fighter and a Cuban school fighter.
It's a hard fight to pick. Like you never seen Frank Sanchez in a scurry in his career yet. So, he might be in that position. But, it's too hard of a fight to pick, in my opinion. It's a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, both of them has shown some real promise, specifically Frank Sanchez. And, Frank Sanchez had done an interview with our boy earlier in the year, man. I think I actually asked him a question. And I'm going to favor Frank Sanchez on this one right here. Robert Helenius versus Adam Kaunaki. Oh, man, this fight should be a banger, actually. The styles complement each other. This one should have a lot of fireworks.
I take Frank Sanchez in that first fight by decision. I really think it's going to be... I saw the first fight and everything. I'm not really too fond of Kaunaki because his style is just... He's just going to walk forward, try to punch, and tire himself out. He's out of shape, in my opinion. And I don't mean to get on because he's out of shape. But the way he fights at his body type and everything... Yeah,
he's taking a lot of punishment.
You take a lot of punishment. And it costs you to get... You got knocked out because of it. I think Robert Helenius knocks him out in maybe the 6th round again. I just don't see Kaunaki advancing in his career because of his style. Like, his best fight was actually against Chris Arreola, if you look at it. So I don't think too much of him. I think Helenius knocks him out in 6.
Yeah, and thank you for reminding me that was a rematch. Jared Anderson versus Vladimir Tereshkin. I don't know too much about Vladimir Tereshkin, but I am high on Jared Anderson, who I saw his debut. I was actually at his first professional fight the same day that Xander Zayas made his professional debut. And if there's any truth to the rumors that he's actually banged up Tyson Fury in multiple sparring sessions, man, I'm going with Jared Anderson. I like what I see.
Whatever his name is, I saw him fight a couple of times. He's a good stepping stone fight for Jared Anderson. I think Jared Anderson is the next American heavyweight champion. I really think this kid has a bright future. I think he's going to be a heavyweight champion in the future. So I'm going with Jared Anderson, knockout, maybe 5.
Man, I like that. And so does HLD in the chat says, I'm waiting for Jared Anderson to be my next American heavyweight champion to support 100%. Till then, it is what it is. Very promising. Yeah, he's actually got a lot of people behind him who feel that way, that he does have a very promising potential, championship career, man. So I am excited about him. And of course, let's not forget Edgar Berlanga, who has knocked out everyone. He'll be fighting someone that's most likely not going to give him a real challenge. But Vegas deserves a knockout artist like that just to add some spice to that card. We never know, man. I know he's an East Coast fighter, but if this fight goes well, you may see him in future Las Vegas cards. What's up, Drew?
Do we just have to pick? We should just pick the round this ends in.
It's probably going to be 2 or 3 rounds on that one.
Yeah, I'm saying 2.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. Well, we don't have a very big audience today, but I appreciate every single one of you. And if you guys want to share this, I'll make the big announcement to all of us in the chat. So this is what's going down on Saturday. All right, let me make sure this is here. Let's get a drum roll. Why not a drum roll?
You do it.
All right. Your boy Dave from the 408 and Drew Evo of the Shoe Shine have been invited by Twitch TV. They got their own sports shows. Twitch TV has approached Drew and Evo and I to compete on Saturday before the Tyson Fury fight. It's a Tyson Fury pre-game, pre-fight event that will be hosting podcasters from around the world to compete. I think it's going to be 8 people, 2 professional hosts, and I guess there's going to be a professional fighter. There's going to be a professional fighter on the panel. And the very first show on Twitch TV was one for MMA. I guess it was for a UFC night. And they had Ben Askren. as the invited co-host. So 8 people are going to compete. Drew and I will be competing against each other against 6 other podcasters. And the winner of that event gets I guess, I'm not sure if it's a permanent spot on this show called the co-host, or if it's just for the night, but you get to hang out and do a live commentary on Twitch TV. Thank you, Sonteo. Yeah, we're very excited, man. Like, you don't know who's watching us. Like, Drew and I have been doing this for like 3 years. I do the roundtable as often as I can. I've appeared on HCP as much as possible. And then we do our show here. And to have somebody just approach us out of nowhere, and when the emails came through and Drew was showing me the emails, and he's like, dog, it's Twitch TV. It's like, it's not a show on Twitch TV. It's actually Twitch TV putting on their own sports broadcasting channel. So tonight we were broadcasting on Twitch TV. We'll see how it goes. If you can't find this show, because I don't even really know the name of the channel that it's going to be on, I'm like, if you don't know where it is, just go to Twitch TV, Shoeshine Boxing. Just look me up, Shoeshine Boxing, all one word. You should find us, or you could find Drew Evo on Twitch, but you should be able to find Shoeshine Boxing on Saturday. A couple of hours before the fight, we'll be on there with a professional fighter. It should be a good panel, man. Let me just play a little bit of what the show looks like. They get, like you can see here, the contestants. They go out and they seek out these contestants. This is an MMA show, but they're going to do a Saturday-specific one for the Tyson Fury fight. There's the panel. We got Carolyn, who's worked in sports broadcasting for a long time. Ben Askren was the host. Oh, and I guess Graham Poobeer is one of the hosts as well. So they'll be pitting us against each other. Drew, best of luck to you. I hope I know my trivia on Saturday.
Yeah, we know I'm going to win.
By the way, the winner's got to stay on. Not only do you got to do those 2 hours, but you got to do the rest of the entire fight card. So I don't know how my bladder would hold up. So I'm not planning on winning. If I do, I do. But I'm not good with names. Chicano Prophet says, maybe Lima will be watching Drew. Bella Blink says, LOL. You don't know who will be watching, right? Twitch is a whole different world out there. But yeah, Twitch is pretty serious about doing some kind of sports broadcasting. So guys, definitely try to check in. And if you have a Twitch account, if you don't have one, consider making one so you can participate in the chat. According to Drew, that last show actually had 100,000 total viewers on that.
So.
According, like not live all at once, but according to the entire stats, it had over 100,000 views. So it'll get exposure to a lot of us. And when the phone comes ringing and they ask me, Dave, who do you recommend to come on this show? We need some more podcasters. You know, if you get to the shoe shine, I'm going to be good to you guys when that phone rings. It could be ringing as soon as the next big fight, which is Canelo Alvarez. Just like, 3-4 weeks later, the phone could be ringing. Who do we want to put up on this show? Very, very exciting stuff. With that in mind, Drew, it's time to wrap up the Shoe Shine Monday. It's the beginning of a great fall, winter for the sport of boxing. We had a crappy summer, but we're well beyond that. Looking forward to it, Drew. Keeping this thing going, keeping the Shoe Shine going on Monday nights. I will be on the roundtable. I believe so. I talked to D-Styles last week. I think I'll be on there on Thursday night, whatever they want to do. That's approaching nearly 50 shows. Shout out to everyone who has supported us, including our homeboy David Duenas at Leave It in the Ring Radio. I'm going to leave it up to you, Drew. Give me your final words.
Final words is simple. I'm going to win Saturday, and I'm going to win going away. And I'm just gonna say this right now. Anything that they're gonna say, I'm just gonna say I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread.
You gotta bring your A game on Saturday, Drew. I know I've been thinking of a few singers. I definitely have been thinking about them. Hopefully I remember them. Peace out, guys. Chicano says, great show, guys, says Run PMC. No, guys, I appreciate you guys being in the room. So definitely, I'll catch you guys on the roundtable this Thursday. We'll see if our predictions for the Tyson Fury pans out. If Deontay Wilder scores an epic knockout, that is great for the sport of boxing. It's great for American fighters. It's great for the heavyweight division. Maybe we'll see a fourth fight, right, Drew? Never know. Keep this
I
thing
don't
going.
want to see a full fight, man. Like, I tell you the truth right now, we all know what's going to happen. A lot of losers again, we're going to hear more excuses, and we're going to hear these LBC guys say so many excuses.
And that remains to be
seen. It's going to make them more money.
That remains to be seen, man. So with that said, it's the Shoe Shine. I'm Dave from the 408. We'll catch you guys next Monday and see how we're doing. Everybody have a fantastic fight weekend. We'll see you next Monday. Peace.